In rapid fire, I'm going to explain how you can work for yourself with $0 to invest. The first way you can is through language learning platforms such as VIP Kid. This is where you teach English to children from China. We also have Preply. This is where you can teach multiple languages, not just English, to students all around the world. And I have friends that are taking advantage of this, working remote and also working for themselves while traveling throughout the world. One thing with Preply to keep in mind, as well as VIP Kid, is it's not required to have certification, but if you have something like TEFL, a TEFL certification, that's going to be really beneficial with making you stand out among all the other teachers. The next option we have to work for yourself is going to be food delivery apps such as Uber Eats and DoorDash. There's multiple others that you can check out, but those are some of the more common ones. And overall, for these types of food delivery, it's going to be really helpful for some quick cash. You can get started right away very quickly. And, just keep in mind that overall, I would say the majority of time when I was using this, or people that I know, it's primarily for just a little side income. It's not a full-time position, although people can certainly do it as a full-time position. So just something to keep in mind, that it's most likely, or what I would recommend, to just do it as a side source of income. But something to keep in mind. Next up, we have Uber. Everyone knows it. If you have the car to do Uber or do or Lyft, for instance, you can go ahead and give rideshare to people around cities. And with this one, I personally have not done the Uber or Lyft because my car at the time wasn't big enough, didn't have enough seats in the back to be able to do this. And so that's why I resorted to just doing Uber Eats. But if you were, if you have the car for it, you have the time, again, I would most likely suggest that this is more going to be side income for, just some extra income on the side from the majority of people that I got to meet while working with Uber Eats. I would say this is probably about the same for Uber rideshare. The next one we have to work for yourself is going to be dog walking. So you can either take advantage of Wag is a service, and also Rover. I would say Wag is really beneficial for dog walks. So just quick, you show up to someone's house, you take their dog or pet, you give them a quick walk for anywhere from, I would say, 20 minutes to an hour, and you make some extra income through that. Again, it's going to be similar to food delivery or rideshare, some quick side income, but it's really really easy to get started, and there's no certification really necessary for this. You can just sign up and just make sure you have you can verify your identity, I believe, but besides that, you should be good to go. With Rover, I personally didn't have as much success with Rover. I would say it's more beneficial to, if you have the space, if you have a house and you're able to sit dogs, dog sitting is going to be, I think, a bigger deal with Rover versus dog walking. I found the Wag was much more successful for dog walking, and Rover is going to be much more successful for dog sitting, just from my personal experience. But easy to get both set up and check out, especially if you don't have a dog and you want to, and you love being around them. You can, this is a great way to, spend some dog time or cat time, if you want. So that's another option. The next option you have is food delivery apps, such as Shipt was one that I personally did. Now with food delivery, the Shipt is really beneficial. I would say when I was doing it, the best way you can make the most income from something like Shipt is they offer grocery delivery, and they also offer Target deliveries. At least if that's still the same, that should be. And with Target, the benefit of Target is it's very organized with the items that you're finding, so it's much easier to get in and get out. And I often found that taking Target orders, you often make the most money, and you can do more orders in a shorter amount of time. So it's something to consider there. But you also could do the grocery deliveries if it should be throughout the U.S., but something to consider there. All sorts of places, as you can see here, to do different types of deliveries. Target's going to be that number one. From my personal experience, Target was the best to take orders from. The sign-up process for Shipt, I'll mention, is pretty straightforward. You will get either a card that you can check out with, so it's like a credit card you can swipe with to pay for orders when you shop for someone. You also can get prepaid orders. So a lot of the benefit of Target orders, again, is the prepaid orders. A lot of customers will just pay for the items, and all you have to do is just pick them up, go to an employee in the Target, and they'll scan the order, and you'll be good to go. So Shipt is, a good one for, again, I would say more for side income, not necessarily to do something long term, just something if you are interested in starting to work for yourself and exploring that. The next way to work for yourself is going to be through eBay or, through OfferUp. So services where you can resell items, and, with both, it's, I think, a really useful opportunity for really anyone, not necessarily doing it for a full-time position, although you can get to that point. It's going to be beneficial for just selling items throughout the house, reducing the clutter you have, getting comfortable with pricing things and actually selling something. So, I think one of the benefits that I had from selling some of my own items that I had that I no longer needed was just the benefit of giving the confidence that I can actually make money on my own without an actual employee full-time job, you can say. So something to consider with these. Just be mindful of scammers, I would say. There's I think a lot more on OfferUp than eBay, but something just to consider. And another thing with eBay is be mindful with the shipping, be mindful with the products. So I had plenty of products that would break mid shipping because I was shipping just not the best things, but essentially such as glass, you can say, pottery, things that just, even if I packed it, no matter how I packed it, it always broke. So be really mindful of what you're selling. And I personally didn't have, I only did it for a few months and decided it wasn't worth the time, but you could pursue long term, taking this and starting a thrift store, having other people work for you and resell things. You can have people in the community bring you stuff to then sell for them. So it reduces the amount of time that you got to go find items, post items, and do all of that effort, which does take a lot of time. You could go ahead and have the community bring items to you, and then you get a part of that profit. So something to consider with eBay and also OfferUp as well. Next up, we have Facebook Marketplace. That's a little bit the same, I would say. So Facebook Marketplace is another one to consider with reselling items. And the same also, if you're considering buying items, you can find a lot of items and get a good deal on something, such as sofas are a huge one. I would say people are always looking to get rid of, but they're high quality. That's one of the biggest things that depreciate a lot once you purchase it brand new. So you can find a lot of good deals from Facebook Marketplace, but also selling is a good place to be here, whether it's anywhere from clothing to a car to etc. Facebook might be a better spot for that type of stuff. Next, we have Nextdoor. So Nextdoor is going to be really useful for really anything, any type of business you might be starting and interacting with the community. So when I was using Nextdoor several years ago, I was doing a little snow removal business where I would go to people's places and clear out their driveway. And it was really easy in a way to get started because you can see how the community interacts with one another. You can see that there's a need. And at the time I saw, winter was coming around when I was out in Michigan, and people wanted to get their driveways cleared. So I went ahead and offered that service. And pretty soon, through word of mouth, you're really going to get a lot of business. So Nextdoor, I would say, is just a great platform to reach out to the community and start, offering a service, whatever it might be. So something just to consider with that. Next, we have Fiverr. Now, with Fiverr, I personally haven't had the most success with. I want to say Fiverr is really beneficial for exactly what they're trying to go for, freelancers. So it's going to be freelancers that are very, very skilled in something specific. So it's going to be the software engineers, it's going to be the web developers, it's going to be the potentially even, CPAs or accountants. It could be, really from what I saw, it's going to be a lot more higher level required skill sets. So most like you already had years of work experience before getting into Fiverr and working for yourself versus just starting off the scratch. I want to say I have a friend that has found some copywriting gigs off Fiverr, but for the most part, a lot of the requested assistance is going to be from higher level skill sets where it takes time or work experience to actually do. So Something just to consider. But Fiverr is a place you can check out. And that's it. Those are all the options. The final one I'll mention is, for thinking long term, I would say that the some of the best ways to actually work for yourself with $0 to invest is actually learning how to program and learning how to code. And this you can check out my website, MatthewSeward.com. There's tons of websites that you can learn to code for free. It's not required to spend money to go to a boot camp. There are plenty of free boot camps, plenty of free resources off YouTube as well. But if you want, I have lots of blog posts about the topic, MatthewSeward.com. I'll also be posting more on my YouTube channel, so feel free to take a look at that if you're interested. And programming, I think, is one of the best ways to long-term wise consider, how you want to, work for yourself and grow your business. Is really learning how to program is going to give you a lot more options, especially if you want to work remote and travel. So that's it for today. I would love to hear in the comments anything I might have missed, any additional ways to work for yourself without a lot of income. And if you have experience from it, be sure to share with other people so that they can grow as well. But that's it, and have a great day.